News at 5.
Election day is here. We have been counting down for months, and candidates have been campaigning for even longer. Joining us tonight to discuss election race predictions is Travis County GOP Chairman Matt Mackowiak and Glenn Smith from Progress, Texas. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Glenn, what would be the biggest surprise you might see tonight?
Oh, golly, that the Democrats take the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate and the Texas House and the several seats in the Texas Senate and the governorship and Attorney General. That'd be a big surprise all the way around. I want to say we've already got one winner, and that's the people of Texas, I think. I want to congratulate everybody for their engagement and participation in this election. To have a participation this huge in the midterm election, everybody's a winner regardless of the outcome. The engagement will continue into the future, and that'll be good for Texas, good for policy, good for the future.
I think most people can agree with that. Matt, same question, though. What race result would be the most surprising to you?
Well, I'd start by saying if Democrats found a way to break their losing streak of statewide races that hasn't been broken since 1994, I don't think they're going to do that tonight. I think the margin in the U.S. Senate race and in the Attorney General race are the two things that most of us are watching closely. What will that margin be? Trump's margin was 8.5% 2 years ago. Will Democrats get inside that, perhaps in either of those races? Be one thing to watch. That down ballot, there are a lot of important races. How many Texas House seats do Democrats pick up? I think it's probably 5 or 6. How many state Senate seats do they pick up? I think it's probably only 1, if it's 1 at all. How many congressional seats do they pick up? Could be 0, could be 1, could be 2. I don't think it'll be more than that. So that's what I'm watching for, is to see what these margins end up at. And I think the veto effect statewide is going to matter more in some of these target areas where there are target races. You know, does he have huge coattails in Dallas County, for example? Does he have coattails in Harris County? These are the kinds of things I think a lot of operatives are looking at closely.
So let's talk overall. Polls are showing Republicans could narrowly hold on to the majority in the Senate, while the House looks like it is leaning more toward Democratic control after tonight. Glenn, what is your prediction for the balance of power in Congress once all the ballots are counted?
I think Democrats take the U.S. House. I'm pretty confident about that. I'm pretty close to Matt on his predictions here, except I think that we're probably going to win the U.S. Senate race and the Attorney General's race, and I think we'll get 12 to 15 seats in the state House. I think this one-party form of government is anathema to most Americans and Texans. It looks a little authoritarian. I think they want checks and balances. I think they're voting for the checks at all levels of government, and I think that's going to help Democrats this time. And I think we're going to elect a couple of statewides. If we get that many in the House here, by the way, it dramatically changes the potential for policy outcomes this coming legislative session.
And Matt, how do you think the House and Senate will turn out, the U.S. House and Senate?
Yeah, so I would say that I think the Democrats are favored to take the House. I think that the margin is likely to be somewhere between, let's say, 15 seats and maybe 30, 35 seats. That's obviously a big margin. Not a lot of bold prediction there, but I think it really could go either way. You have a number of these seats that are so close, primarily in suburban districts. New York, New Jersey alone could make up half of the Democrats' margin to get to the 23 seats they need. In the Senate, I think we're going to have a significant night for Republicans. I think we're going to win at least 2 new seats and perhaps as many as 4. A lot of folks are watching places like Missouri, Indiana, Montana, Florida. We could pick up at least 2 of those seats in addition to North Dakota. So we'll see what happens, but it could be basically a split decision at the national level. You know, a fairly modest victory for Democrats in taking the House back but having a narrow majority, a fairly modest victory for Republicans in narrowly picking up 2 or 3 perhaps seats in the Senate and going to 54 or 55 votes.
Well, we will know the results later tonight. Again, the polls close at 7 o'clock, and Fox 7 Austin will have a full 90-minute election show starting at 9 o'clock, including analysis from Matt and Ed Espinoza. But Matt, Glenn, thank you both for coming in and sharing your perspectives with us tonight.
Happy to be here.
Take care.